joining us for the first session of the You Goal Girl goal setting session for 2020. The one thing that I thought about when I was setting up the session is what better way to use the extra day that we have this month than to use it for our own personal growth. So happy leap year to everyone. And hopefully this session will prove to be beneficial as we go through goal setting. For those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Tawana Howells. However, you may call me Ty. And I actually partner with my son, Darius Clark, who's on the screen. His picture's on the screen. And he is, again, the one who usually handles the media side of it. And of course, he always says, and you may call him Darius. And I kind of laugh at that because, that is his name. So we are happy to have each one of you on today's session. And let me just start by sharing the path that actually led us here today. So Darius and I started on this journey last November, and I was taking a session on the science of getting rich. And as I was taking that session, it really changed the trajectory of my thinking about wealth and riches. Like not from a place of greed and competition, but through a creative lens, having just an understanding that there are more than enough opportunities for me to do what God has purposed me to do without trying to beat out someone else. So when Darius came home on his winter break, I asked him to listen to it. And y'all, when I tell you, Darius was like talking about the information he had heard when I got home from work. So I knew that the information was really good because a 21-year-old coming in and listening to a book called The Science of Getting Rich, don't know whether it's going to capture his attention, don't know whether he's going to remain interested in it, but he did. And I think he actually said on one of the calls that the title alone caught his attention because he wanted to know, what's this thing about getting rich? So I knew that I had to share the information with other people. And I actually bought the license. So I bought the license, and when I bought the license, it was, you try and prepare for a session and you practice. And as you're practicing, you have that still little voice in the back of your head saying, when are you going to start? When are you going to actually go out there and present? And as we practiced, Darius actually started to give me, because he was doing the media, but he started to give me some really great feedback from a millennial perspective. So as he was talking to me from a millennial perspective, it made me really think about some of the concepts and some principles that were taught in the science of getting rich. So what I did was I actually asked him if he wanted to join me, not just behind the scenes on media, but on the camera as well. And he did. So we started actually practicing for the session. And then that still little voice in the back of my head kept saying, like, when are you gonna set your first date? When are you gonna launch? Now, guys, let me tell you, this was in November. I did not know, I had no idea of the how, the where, or the when. But what I did know was my why. I knew that I wanted to share this information because, and with anyone who was willing to learn, not just with my family, but with anyone who was willing to learn, to empower them to use the gifts that God has given them to build wealth and riches from a creative stance and not from a competitive one. So after a couple of days of practicing, that still little voice was in the back of my head, and we decided to jump. And when we decided to jump, there's a saying from our Empowered Living group that says, jump and grow your wings down, which is a metaphor for just do it. So that's actually what we did. We jumped and we started to grow our wings down. And as we worked through some of the logistics of it, we learned a lot. So we announced this big announcement. I put out a text message. Now, I didn't send it out to the masses. I actually sent it out to a small group of people that I knew that were into and interested in personal growth. So I launched the big announcement on December 28th. And when we launched the big announcement on December 28th, what we talked about was we talked about the fact that I had actually received a blessing from my job, and I was going to become John Maxwell certified, which is coming up in March of this year. And having this John Maxwell certification, I put this out into the atmosphere like 3 or 4 years ago. Again, I didn't know my how, but I knew my why. I did not have an understanding of how this was going to happen, since this was like a $6,000 investment. And the launch of the Science of Getting Rich, which actually began on January 4th, was one of those things that actually just kind of pushed me over the edge. Now let me go back. There's a story behind how I actually how I'm able to participate in the John Maxwell certification, and I'll share that on another call for time's sake. But I will say this: I was pushed to the edge of my comfort zone when I set a goal for us to launch on December 28th. I was pushed even further when we set the goal for us to actually launch the Science of Getting Rich on January 4th. And I am happy to say that we actually accomplished that goal, and we culminated that 5-week session on February 8th with a thank you brunch for our CP2R, which is Connecting People to Resources family. And that's where we actually scheduled this goal setting session. So on this goal setting session, what we're going to do today, and hopefully while you guys are doing this first exercise, I'll be able to get the other people on the call, because I actually have calls coming in, a couple of messages coming in. But what we're going to do is, because we want to build a community of people who empower each other. And I said people, I'm not saying just women. I'm not saying, of course, it's just all female. It's males as well. So if you have someone that you want to bring along, please feel free to do so. But what we're doing is we're building a community who empower each other to win. I mean, that's what it's all about. I have invested in the John Maxwell program and the Empowered Living program so that I can come back and share the information that I'm learning about building wealth and riches with a community of people that I congregate with on a regular basis. When I tell you the people that I have, that we have access to, are people who are willing to give money, especially to great causes, and people who are willing to share their experiences, and people who are willing to, in fact, let me just give you a testimony. So Stacy Nunez is a part of our CP2R family. And on one of our previous sessions, I actually announced that Paul Marnelli and Roddy Gilbert were going to be giving away $2,000 every week during our Empowered Living, I'm sorry, I had a call coming in. During our Empowered Living weekly 9:30 Saturday morning call. Well, Stacy Nunez with Better Day Givings, she actually received an email on yesterday saying that she was selected to receive the $1,000. She was one of, they actually named two. She was one of the two nonprofits this morning that was featured on this Empowered Living call. So she actually received $1,000 towards her, for her Better Day Givings organization, which is an organization who provides wigs for cancer patients. So that's the kind of community that we're building here, and that's the kind of resources that we're tapping into. So right now, what I want to do is I want to kind of go around and let everyone introduce themselves. And for the sake of time, if you can just give your name and your profession, or if you have a business or a potential business, just give us that information so that we know who we have on the call, what services are provided, and who we can reach out to if we need those services. And I'm actually going to start with Miss Dolores, because you were on the call first. I'm going to start with you, if you don't mind. So just remember to unmute your phone. Ms. Dolores, are you able to unmute your phone? Okay, so we will come back to Ms. Dolores. Kim?
Hi, Ty.
Yes.
I was going to say, since it seems I'm the only one with my phone unmuted, I'll go ahead and start.
Okay, awesome. Who's this?
This is Bridget.
Hey, Miss Bridget.
Hello, Taiwania.
I'm so glad
My name is
to make
Bridget
it.
Morris, and I am a systems analyst by profession. But what I am venturing into is event planning, and the name of my company, Victorious Visions. And we offer all levels of event planning services, and that's it.
And you are in the Atlanta area?
Yes, I'm in the Atlanta area.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Miss Bridget.
Mm-hmm. I will be going back on mute.
Thank you so much. Who else can actually find the unmute button?
I'm unmuted. This is Connie.
Okay,
I'm also known as Eula. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. I'm actually an entrepreneur, and I have 2 online businesses. I actually design jewelry decals for businesses such as windows and wall murals, and t-shirts and drinkware. And the 2 online businesses, one is Cameron's Jewelry Box, and then the other one is Ready to Gift. And I've been doing it, I've had my businesses open for probably about 7 years now. And I'm located in Douglasville.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So just to let you know, Bridget will be helping me with on-site events with her event decor. And Ms. Connie is already helping me with products. And the first products that we actually had with her were our t-shirts, our Be Empowered t-shirts that our participants received at the thank you brunch. So thank you so much, ladies. And also, you, Connie, I am going to need my decals for my books.
Okay.
I'll talk with you after.
Okay. I'm going back on mute.
Thank you, ma'am. Kim, are you able to unmute? Or Ms. Dolores? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move forward. And right now, if you have your pen and your paper, hopefully you do, then we're going to actually we're gonna go into an exercise. But before we go into that exercise, I want to show you guys a quick video on goal setting. So hold on one second.
Hello and welcome. My name is Paul Martinelli, and I am president.
Okay, so what you should see on your screen is Paul Martinelli, who is the president of John Maxwell Team, who is also one of my mentors. If you are not able to see that on the screen, I can see it actually. So this is about, I think, 8 minutes, maybe 8 to 10 minutes long. So just hold on one second and let's take a listen.
Hello, my name is Paul Martinelli. I am president of the John Maxwell Team. I hope you'll just give me 23 seconds to make a case that I think will encourage you to watch not only the rest of this video, but the entire series. Here it is. If you've ever set a goal and failed to achieve that goal, I'm going to suggest that it had very little to do with you not being good enough or talented or resourced, that you not having all that's necessary to achieve it. I'm going to suggest that if you've ever set a goal and you failed to achieve it, that the failure came not in the process of trying to achieve the goal, but in the process of setting the goal. That there are 5 mistakes, and if you make one of these 5 mistakes when you set a goal, I don't care what it is. I don't care how good you are. If you make one of these 5 mistakes when you set the goal, you fail. So I hope now, in these brief amount of time, I've encouraged you, enticed you to at least hear me out for the rest of this video and perhaps the rest of this learning. You know, goal setting and goal achieving are two very different things. Goal setting is an intellectual process, and goal achieving is a lawful process. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that when we set goals, we use our intellectual faculties. In the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the lives of 25,000 people, 500 of which were the most successful people. Ford, Rockefeller, Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, the Wright brothers. At the culmination of these 20 years of study of the very most successful people, he writes something in the book that is pretty astounding. He said that it wasn't that these people had an abundance of generalized or even specialized knowledge that led them to great success. In other words, it wasn't that they were smarter than anybody else. Now, that was good news for me when I read that in the book, because I'm a high school dropout. and I knew that I wasn't smarter than most people. He said it wasn't that they had an abundance of generalized or even specialized knowledge that led them to great success. It's that they had developed their intellectual faculties to such a degree that they could create, manifest, or attract whatever it is that they wanted in their lives. That's a pretty powerful statement. It's even more powerful when you understand what the intellectual faculties are. You see, when I read that, I was excited because he said it wasn't that they had an abundance of generalized or specialized knowledge. That was good for me because I didn't have an abundance of generalized or specialized knowledge. But when he said it's that they developed their intellectual faculties, I didn't know what they were. And you know what? Most people don't. You know, I could pull in a 5 or 6 year old boy or girl right here and I could ask Billy or Mary, you know, what are your 5 senses? And very quickly, they would be able to say that we have the ability to see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. See, those are our physical senses. Hill was talking about intellectual faculties. You know, we could sit down with people who have advanced degrees in education and ask them, what are the intellectual faculties that Hill found, that the Wright brothers had, that Alexander Graham Bell had, that Ford, Woolworth, Schwab? What was it that they had that led them to great success? And see, he discusses that there's 6 intellectual faculties. And when we're setting goals, we want to use the proper intellectual faculty. You see, what most people do is when they set goals using their reasoning faculty. And the challenge with using your reasoning faculty is your reasoning faculty is based on your logic. Based on your very best thinking, right? Your reasoning is based on your base logic, your best logic, and your logic is based on your current belief. Well, let me just share something with you. In the book Psycho-Cybernetics, and in the book As Man Thinketh by James Allen, and in the book Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, in the book Thinking, in almost every great book that studies human potential, human behavior, and results, they all agree unanimously that you and I never outperform our own self-belief. So if our belief is driving our logic and our logic is driving our reasoning, if we're setting goals based on our current reasoning, it's highly unlikely that we're going to be able to produce something beyond what we've currently already produced. Now, I said that goal achieving is a lawful process, and there are 7 laws that govern the way that we think and behave. I mean, I think all of us can agree that this entire universe operates by law. We could call these universal laws. Now, I'm a person of faith, and so I see these as God's laws and the universe obeys. But there are exact laws of creation, and there are 7 laws that govern the way that you think, behave, and create your life. And when you are in the process of goal achieving, when you're living your life in accordance with the 7 laws that govern the creative process, there's a whole lot less friction. There's a whole lot more harmony. There's a whole much more predictability in the creation of your results. And I don't know about you, but I sure like having predictable results. So let's go back to this goal setting idea, because that's really the part of this video that we're talking about. I said that goal setting is an intellectual process, and that there are 6 intellectual faculties. One of these is reason, and we said, well, you don't really want to use reason. Another one of these intellectual faculties is memory. You know, when we think of memory, what we're talking about, what most of us think of in terms of memory, is really recall, isn't it? It's where we recall, where we remember ideas, concepts, thoughts, experiences, and we recall those from our other than conscious mind, and we remember them into a picture in our mind. And for most of us, if we're setting goals using our intellectual faculty of our memory, we're looking towards the past. So when we're setting goals, the very first thing we want to understand is that it is an intellectual process, and we want to use really two of our intellectual faculties, 2 of the 6, and that is imagination. Imagining what would we love? What would we love to be or do or have? What would we love to create? Where would we love to be 6 months from now or a year from now? And for some of you who might be new to goal setting, and remember, since it's a skill that has to be learned, where might you want to be at the end of this week? At the end of the month? I have found that a lot of people fail in achieving goals simply because they've never really developed the muscle of discipline, of determination, of persistence, to stay in the game long enough to actually manifest their goal. You would never go to the gym and go up to the treadmill and put it on its highest incline and its highest speed on your very first day and try to run for 20 minutes. Even if you were able to complete it, you probably wouldn't be able to walk the next day. It would take you out of the game. So if goal setting is something that's new to you, if it's been a while since you've really set a goal, then you might want to set a shorter term goal. Set it for a week, set it for a day. But we know this, is we know that what we want to do is we want to use our memory, our imagination. We want to imagine a future good, a future model of perfection. Build an image of kind of a mental model of perfection of where we want to go. Let's not use our memory of the past and remember all the mistakes and failures we've had. Let's use our imagination and go beyond where we are. You know, memory references our historical past. Imagination, used properly, defines our future possibility. The second intellectual faculty we want to use is our intuition. We have been given an intuitive factor. I love how Wayne Dyer says, he says, prayer is when we talk to God. Intuition is when God speaks back to us. Intuition is that part of us that knows that we know. It's that inner knowing. It's that sixth sense. We can't really put our finger on why we know. We just know. And it's kind of our internal GPS or internal guidance system, isn't it? We just know that this is the next step. It's something that is emerging from our soul. We become aware of something that's emerging from our soul. And when this idea comes into our awareness and it registers as a desire, we then begin to invoke the use of our imagination and imagine, what would that life be? That's the energy vortex that we want to enter into when we're setting goals. That's kind of the starting point. That's kind of, even before we launch into understanding the mistakes that people make in setting goals, let's understand the state of mind that we have to be in. Now, I hope that this first video has at least intrigued you enough that you'll hit play on the next video as I begin to outline for you the 5 mistakes that people make when they set goals. This has been Paul Martinelli for the John Maxwell team. Thank you.
Okay, so hopefully you guys found information in that video to be somewhat helpful, especially for this next exercise or the first exercise. And most of the people on this call, you guys have already, you've already gone through the exercise. And right now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to refine what you've already actually identified. So one of the exercises that we did when we were at the brunch is we did a brain dump. We actually took we took time to write down all of our goals, and it was really just spitball, and it was really putting it all out there. Don't try to organize it. Don't even think about it. If it comes to mind, and I'm going to go ahead and go on video for just a second here. If it comes to mind, just do it. Just write it down. And that's what we're going to do here. But what we're, for those who have actually gone through the exercise, what I have realized in talking to several of you, or a couple of you, is that the same goals that you wrote down at the brunch, they're different. And that's usually what happens. We start with a goal in mind, or we start with, what we think we want, the direction we think we want to go in. But when we really start thinking, the wheels really start turning, we actually realize that there are either more goals that we want to add, or we change the direction. And it's something about writing it down that gets us to that point, or gets us to that place. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of minutes just to go back through your list of goals to make sure that what you have is what you want to focus on this year. And it doesn't just have to be this year. I'm speaking of this year because I'm actually focused more on 2020. I am looking at bigger picture. I do have some bigger picture goals, but I'm really focusing on 2020 and more specifically within the next 6 months. Okay, so but you can write down whatever goals you need to whatever goals you want to accomplish this year, or even if it's a 2-year plan, 5-year plan, whatever it may be. So we're going to just take a couple of minutes, and again, I think most of you have already done this exercise, so we're going to take a couple of minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes, and let me know in the chat box when you have completed yours, and we can move on. Before we start that, and again, this is just a brain dump. You're writing all of your goals down. But before we start, are there any questions? And we're actually going somewhere with this exercise today. So are there any questions? Okay, if not, I'm going to start the clock now. It is 12:44. I'm going to come back in 3 minutes, 12:47. And check in to see if we're ready to move forward. I'm going to go off camera for just a second.
But we stop by to tell you that what's in front of you is bigger than what's behind you. Your destiny, your promise. You might as well shout before you get it. Because God's simply here to tell you that what He has for you is going to be big. That is my season. That is my season. You ought to declare that over your own life. Say, I believe. I believe. That is my time. It's my time. It's my time. And I can feel it. I can feel it. Say breakthroughs in the room. Breakthroughs in the room. It's yours if you want it. Anticipating. God's getting ready to move. God's getting ready to move. Listen, you ought to declare this over your own life. Say it. God. He's working a miracle. Just for me. And it's gonna be. Hey, listen, I don't know about you, but I'm excited about my future. Why? It's gonna be I'm running into destiny. Running into my promise. Why? God's
Okay, so I know that was just a couple of minutes. If you need more time, please let me know. Again, most of the people that are on the call still are those who have already gone through this exercise. But what I do want to emphasize here is this. We often have very little time to really sit and think about our goals, to take that time and really think through what we want life to look like for us. So as we have this next 45 minutes, if we can just focus in on this goal setting session, when you walk away, hopefully you have clear direction of where you want to go for the remainder of the year, and we can hold each other accountable for doing that. So just make sure that if you have distractions around you, if you can just focus in for the next 45 minutes on this process, I promise you at the end of the year, when we go back and we're doing reflections, because we are going to reflect, when we go back, we're going to see how much we've accomplished, and it's all going to be as a result of us really digging deep and searching for directions, instructions, and guidance from God and moving forward on those things that He's called us to do. So if you need more time, please let me know in the chat box, or better yet, if you guys can let me know that you're ready to move on, just type in ready in the chat box. Or you can talk to me. Thank you, Connie. So I'm going to give it another minute or two until I get the other readies. As you continue to write out your goals, I'm going to ask you to think about the next part of this exercise, which is categorizing and prioritizing. Categorizing and prioritizing. To categorize, you can actually use, there are 4 categories that we're going to kind of focus on. Professional development, health and fitness, hobbies, and finances. So what you can do is you can either create 4 columns and you can write down each one of your goals under that category, or beside the goal, you can write a P for professional development, H for health and fitness, HF actually for health and fitness, H for hobbies, and F for finances. So I'm still waiting on a couple of more readies. So I'm going to give us a little bit more music. And I'm going to come back in 2 minutes. I do need you guys to talk to me and let me know that I am not holding up the process and you guys are ready to move forward. So just let me know. Y'all know we're gonna have to have an on-site session because it's hard to know whether or not you guys are still out there with me. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Bridge. Thank you, Tiffany. Okay, so everyone has it categorized and prioritized, correct? Now, one of the things that you guys want to think about when you're categorizing and prioritizing is you can consider the following to kind of help. You can prioritize easiest to achieve, most important, or something that will improve your life the most, or something that's realistic. So just keep those things in mind as you are prioritizing. Now, again, when you go back and look at these goals, probably maybe later on this evening, they may change, and that's okay. Just go ahead and make those adjustments, and we will adjust fire as we go as well. So now, the next step in this is you're going to select now the top 3 goals, and you're going to answer the following questions. Now, this part is probably going to take a little bit more of a deep thought if you're going to do this exercise and really hone in. You may need to go back and review these questions again, the questions and answers again later. But just keep in mind, you can make adjustments as we go. So I'm going to give you the first 2 questions. Why do I want to achieve this goal, and how will it better my life? Now, these are for the top 3 goals. You've prioritized them, you know your top 3. Why do I want to achieve this goal, and how will it better my life? You have to know your why. If you know your why, it's much easier to stay on track, and it's much easier for you to reach your goals. The second question is, what's the timeline? What's the timeline, meaning how long will it take you? And then based on how long it will take you, when is your deadline? You're more likely to finish the task quickly. Like when our bosses give us a task, they usually give us a deadline. If we have a regular 9 to 5, they usually give us a deadline. That typically keeps us on track because we want to meet that deadline. Well, with personal goals, we should do the same thing for ourselves. Set the timeline and a deadline so that we have something that we're targeting. As you're continuing to write, I'm just going to share with you one of the things that I've experienced myself. In one of the videos I was watching last night, they talked about how we plan to, whenever we have an idea, we want to plan it out, and we hold off on executing because we want to get that plan perfect. Like we want it just right. You know, we want to make sure that we cross all the T's and dot all the I's. And what I realized last night is I am that planning person, but what tends to happen is I plan, but then when it's time to execute, that moment has already passed me by, and it's now time for me to move on to something different, to move on to something else. So this time I didn't do the planning, because had I gone my normal route, which was plan to perfection, I would not have launched on December 28th. We would not have launched on January 4th. I literally took a leap of faith and just decided, just what Paul says, jump and grow your wings down. Leap and grow your wings down. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So I'm hoping that as you guys are setting your goals, you have it in mind that you're not going to sit on these. You're actually going to leap and grow your wings down. So if we're ready for that next question, who will help me stay on track, and how will they hold me accountable? So we all need accountability partners. Like, this is where we always Okay, I can't say. This is where many of us fall off. I mean, I'm pretty sure that most of you, I've talked to you, you kind of agree that having the accountability partner is definitely what's needed. And that's what this group is going to be for. This group is actually, we're going to hold each other accountable to achieving those goals. Most often, we stop before we even start. It's doing, when we start goal setting, one of the things that I experience is I get a little overwhelmed sometimes. And when I start brain dumping, it just seems like so much is on my piece of paper. And I'm going, okay, Lord, how am I going to get this done? But what I've learned to do is I've learned to brain dump. And then if I feel that sense of overwhelmness, I will walk away. I'll walk away. I'll do something totally different. Darius and I picked up some word search books while he was here on winter break, and it was actually just something that we picked up, and we said we would race trying to complete the word search. But I use that when I feel like I'm overwhelmed with what I'm trying to accomplish, just to kind of bring me back to a sense of Zen. I also meditate. When everything seems to be overwhelming, I will start meditating. I will also journal. Those are the things that I've started to do as a result of really getting focused and honed in on my goals and what I want to accomplish this year and the information that I want to share. So journaling, the word search, taking a walk, meditating, all of those things, just walk away from whatever you're doing and do something totally different to kind of bring yourself back to Zen. There will be challenges and setbacks. Don't let that stop you. We're not going to allow that to stop you. If you get to a point where you have challenges and setbacks, please, please, please reach out to us and let us know. Call me, text me. If you need to brainstorm, mastermind, let me know, because we can set up a call at the drop of a dime. We can set up a Zoom website, a Zoom meeting at the drop of a dime. So let me know if you get stuck. We're also going to track progress. We're going to check progress with check-ins. With that progress, you're going to learn how to form habits, good habits, and then you're going to also learn how to break bad habits. There are some resources that I have in the JMT site as well as Empowered Living that I want to share with you guys based on the goals that you've set. And let me just go, I'm trying to go through my notes so I don't forget anything. I have one more video that I want to show you. I'll hold that one for the next session. So let me just say that CP2R, which is connecting people to resources, we offer this free goal setting session. We're going to offer this session. It's going to be a monthly session. And I think in your registration email, you have the dates already for that session, or for the next 3 sessions. We might add on one more, but for the next 3 sessions, you already have the dates. So we're going to have monthly check-ins. You will have, please, 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 go back through your email and make sure that you can access that email so that you can get onto the site. What I might do is go back and resend everyone the email again, because what happens is when I'm on the call, I can't stop and respond to text messages. We had a couple of other people on the call, but they fell off because people weren't on when the meeting was supposed to start. So if we can sign on maybe 5 to 7 minutes before the meeting starts, then we won't lose anyone along the way. Hopefully, we won't lose anyone.
Running your life.
Because we want everyone to win. So monthly sessions, free sessions every month. Now, several of you have already received guidance from me on with the Todoist app. The Todoist app is a project managing app. And I've sent that app out because I wanted you guys to see how we would track your progress and your success as we continue this program. Now, everyone is welcome, and you can still invite people along. Everyone is welcome to join us for the free monthly session. But we also have a couple of sessions that we offer that will provide additional assistance. Those sessions, and let me see if I can get it up. We have, okay, so we have our general goal setting session. We have a 4-week You Goal Girl session, and we have an 8-week You Goal Girl session. And I'm going to show you what comes with each one of those. Hopefully you can see the screen.
Okay, yeah.
Tell me if you see the general goal setting session. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So the general goal setting session is $49 monthly. You receive your participant. You receive monthly check-ins. We discuss your goals and develop timelines to reach those goals. And you have monthly reevaluations or monthly evaluations. Then you have your 4-week program. And in your 4-week program, you have your You Goal Girl 4-week program. And that program, if you invite someone along with you, it's $118 per person. And what you get is you get your participant profile. You get everything that the general session gets, but you also get a free You Goal Girl book. And let me just tell you, the first 3 steps that we just went through today, those steps actually came from the workbook. And if you purchase the 4-week program or the 8-week program, you actually receive the You Goal Girl workbook for free. I will send that to your home. If you are going along individually, it's $129. At some point, this group is going to grow. And there will be a point where after the special or after the launch, the price will be $149. This is going to be, the $149 is going to be the standard pricing. Now with this, again, you get everything that the general session gets, but you also get your book. You also receive your Todoist reminders. So in the general session, you do not get the Todoist reminders, which is the project management app. You do not get it in the general session, but in the You Goal Girl 4-week program, you actually get Todoist reminders. So I actually have everyone, and let me see if I can, I will show you what it looks like, just in case. So this is what it looks like on my end. And if you notice, those that were at the brunch who provided me goals, your goals are, can you see can you see the Todoist website we're at?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you guys, each one of you have a project. I have a project for each one of you with your goals listed. When you go into the app, Bridget was mentioning earlier that she had checked off one of her goals. Make sure that let's talk about it before we do it. If you click the parent account, the parent line, then it removes everything that's underneath the parent line from your site. You can't see it. I can get it back, but you can't see it. So we're going to make sure that we have your parent goals and your sub goals underneath the correct one, underneath the correct subtitle or correct title. And as we complete or achieve a goal, we're simply going to click that goal, okay? Not the parent. The parent will be checked once all of these are complete. Now with the 4-week program and the 8-week program, you all get this service. I will send out your goals. You'll be able to add comments. If you notice here, I will place, in fact, let me, Bridget, I'm gonna use yours. I think I have comments. So if you notice here, I have comments. You will be able to see those comments. And actually, this is one Bridget she mentioned certification, planning certification, and I actually saw this resource online and I sent it to her. So that's the kind of information that I'll be sending out to you via the Todoist app, along with any resources that I have in JMT and Empowered Living. So I'm going to go back to this one. Now the 8-week program, so the 4-week program, you get everything that the general session has, of course, and you get the Todoist app. It is the 8-week program that you actually receive the JMT resources and the Empowered Living resources. That is an added, so Todoist is an added value for the 4-week program and the 8-week program. You're not paying anything extra for that. The JMT resources is where the 8-week and the 4-week differ. And for the 8-week, it's $129 on launch day, not lunch. And the special is $149 for individual. So if you want to go in with somebody, it's best to go just a pair. And that way you get the $129 or the $118. If you want to just do this for free, again, you can jump on the calls every month. You can still check in. If I do something special throughout the program, you will get notification of those special events. It's just that you don't get the one-on-one sessions.
Okay.
Any questions?
So when you say go in with someone, it's people outside of the group that we already have established as far as the,
It can be somebody within the group. It doesn't have to be outside the group.
okay.
Great question.
So if either of us will opt out not to pay for the 149 for now, will we be able to say 2 weeks from now, hey Ty, I want to do the one-on-one? Is that still open, or did I miss something on the it is a deadline, right?
There is a deadline because the actual goal setting sessions, the last one I believe is May 30th, if I'm not mistaken. And I have to put a deadline on it. Now, when I retire, I'll be able to do this full time, but I have to put a deadline on it simply because I think I sent a message out and it said going into June, that's going into like my busy season at work. So I want to be able to give you guys your undivided attention. And if we delay it 2 weeks, that takes me into July, August. And with me closing the books at work, that would be a bit much for me. And I wouldn't be able to provide you the services that you deserve.
T,
Okay.
can you tell us what the registration deadline is?
So if you're going to, this is the first session. The next session is going to be, it's every, the last Saturday of each month. So if you're going to participate, you need to sign up today. Now, if the payment is a thing, then just let me know. I'm more concerned about getting the information to you guys and helping achieve the goals than payment. I know all of y'all. I'm okay with holding off and saying you can split it into 2, you can split it into 3, you can split it into 4. That is really not my concern. My concern is making sure that you get the information and the assistance you need to achieve your goals. So
Well, my concern is rescheduling
go ahead.
that session. I said my concern is rescheduling our session from last week.
Yeah. So who is this? Yvette?
No, this is Bridget.
Bridget.
Oh, Bridget. Look, oh, you sound like Yvette. Yeah, so that's not a concern. We can reschedule it whenever you want to. I actually sent out a doodle poll to you guys. In that doodle poll, it gave you, I think, about eight opportunities to sign up for a one-on-one session. When I send those doodle polls out, it's going to be the same time frame each time because those are the times that I can actually devote to the 1 hour sessions. And I think I have them like 6:45 to 7:45, and then I think maybe 8:15 to 9:15 or something like that. But you all received the doodle poll. But yeah, we can definitely reschedule.
Right. I just didn't want it to throw your calendar off and kind of run the risk of falling into your busy season so that we can, devote adequate attention.
Oh, absolutely.
And T, you said those emails come in doodle poll?
Yes, there was a doodle poll that was sent out, and I can resend that again. But it was doodle poll give you 8, and I closed the last one because, of course, I have to close it at some point. But it gave you 8 opportunities to sign up for the one-on-one, the 1-hour one-on-one session. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys joining.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ty.
Please make sure that you have them either send me their email address or you can forward the email to them.
Thank you, Ty. Tell Darius
Thank
we
you.
said hi. We missed him today.
All right, thanks, Ty.
Them too. I sound like you, Connie.
Rubbing off on you, girl. Thank you.
You are, girl. You are. All right. Thank
Bye,
you, ladies.
entrepreneurs.
Bye.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.